bevo.com.
You're one of Europe's leading business forecasters, and Ronald Cohen wrote a book there's a brilliant book called Second Bounce of the Ball, where he's talking about the second bounce is the next opportunity. We're exploiting the first one that we're in now, but it's all about identifying the next opportunity. So, in your mind, how can you predict where the next opportunity is going to be, so you can align yourself for maximum advantage of that?
It requires intuition, imagination, the sorts of things that entrepreneurs are able to do. Entrepreneurs don't have time or the resources to do business plans of a very sophisticated kind, to do detailed market research of a sophisticated kind in the way that a large company can. And that's why they can get in there first so quickly. What you have is you have individuals, and I meet them every day of the week, who have an idea, have a hunch, have a guess, and have intuition. And they bounce ideas off people like me, and they think about it, and they constantly think in terms of business opportunities. And that's why, of course, the entrepreneurial fleas are more agile and get the business opportunities rather than the corporate elephants. But absolutely, you've got to be ahead of the game. And to be ahead of the game, I try to be ahead of the game in an evidence-based way. I suppose futurists just basically speculate and go into the realms of science fiction, and they're into very much, I think, attention seeking and pleasing the audience. I mean, the easiest way to capture the attention of a corporate audience is to come up with a whole load of stuff about how the world is going to be in 5 to 10 years' time and make it as fanciful as you possibly can. The Americans are good at this, and they love doing it, and they get paid a lot of money for it. What I try to do, on the other hand, is on the basis of continually monitoring evidence, macroeconomic trends, microeconomic trends, market trends, and so on. I try to establish projections on the basis of certain scenarios of high certainty, low certainty, middle range certainty, on the basis of high and low risk, etc., and so forth. And I like to contribute to complement the market research people. The market research people are focused on today. I try to focus on tomorrow, and therefore to be ahead of the game in that way, because you've got to focus upon tomorrow as well as on today. The problem with Marks and Spencer's in the mid-1990s, it was very close to the customer. It prided itself on it. It was too close to the customer. It focused too much on what the customer wanted today, that it hadn't given any thought, and of course things were going well at the time, given no thought to what its customers were going to be like in 5 to 10 years' time. And it's taken them right through to now to turn themselves around, right through until 2 or 3 years ago with the Twiggy advertising campaign, to turn itself around in order to respond to those changes. And what did happen in the last 10 years, put it briefly, in the early 1990s, Marks and Spencer had a great market in selling comfortable woolen cardigans and jumpers to men and women who sat in front of their imitation fires watching television every night. Great. But this huge demographic change occurred in the 1990s. Suddenly, middle-aged people were splitting up, divorcing. Suddenly, an increase in single-person households, men and women, middle-aged men and women, living alone. Suddenly, this 45-plus group, the core market for Marks and Spencer's, were out having fun. The biggest spenders in restaurants, in pubs, the biggest spenders on holidays, the biggest spenders on fashion clothes. But Marks and Spencer's was unable to anticipate that, and that gave opportunities for new competitors coming to the market who did understand that. And it's taken Marks and Spencer's right through until 2 or 3 years ago to turn its product portfolio around to respond to these new, assertive, self-confident, middle-aged women.
So in a large organisation, whose job is it actually to predict the next big opportunity?
A good question. In most organisations, it's no one's responsibility because of the silos, the functional division of labour. You have your market research people on what's going on today. You have your sales people, we've got to hit the quarterly targets. You have your marketing people driven by the sales people. You have your R&D people driven by what's going to be the demand, if not this month, next month, certainly this financial year. Because the city institutions, our shareholders, expect us to hit our projections, etc. So what this means is that as far as publicly quoted companies are concerned, They're unable to take the longer term view. They're unable to create the scenarios. They pay lip service to it. They bring in people like myself to do a bit of research for them and so forth. But they don't really invest into what's going to be happening tomorrow as well as what's happening today. And of course, this has led to huge opportunities being missed in the emerging markets of the world. That companies, they went into China in the mid-1990s and then pulled out again because they got their timing wrong. But also at the same time, because they were compelled to deliver short-term results, they couldn't take the longer-term investment in the same way as privately owned companies could do and in the same way as entrepreneurial businesses could do.
Bevo.com